This video might save you 2 years of your life and finally help you get on the path of building a top 1% jacked physique as a taller guy, which will help you get hundreds upon hundreds of matches on dating apps every single week. I'm going to debunk the 5 biggest myths keeping tall guys lanky. And stick around till the end because number 5 is a brutal one you need to watch out for. The first myth is that it's harder for taller guys to build muscle. I remember this one time I went to the gym and I met one of my shorter friends there. After we both finished our workout, we went to the locker room and we did like a quick pump check to see how far we've come. This guy took his shirt off and I was like, what the fuck? There's no way. I got really pissed for some reason. And when I look back, it was because I felt like this guy made double the amount of progress I did in half the time. And in my head, I was like, it's just because I'm taller. Taller guys have a harder time building muscle. If I was as short as he was, I'd be fucking jacked. I'd be huge. And so when I went home, I had this like sort of thought, this thought exactly, loom over my head like a cloud. Until I finally, I was like, let me fucking like test this out for real. I want to know the truth. Because I've heard this online that it's harder for taller guys to build muscle. And I want to know if it's actually true. And so over the next week and a half, I tracked my weight. I tracked my food. I tracked everything. It was fucking perfect. And what I discovered was the exact opposite of what everyone online was telling me. It's harder for taller guys to build muscle. It's harder for taller guys to pack on size. And right in front of me on the scale, the number went up. And that is when this belief absolutely shattered. I was gaining size. It was all bullshit. I was putting on muscle. The only reason it doesn't look like I have built more muscle, the only reason I still look smaller, it looks like the guy who's been training half as long as me, packed on double the amount of size, is because my frame is bigger. That's it. Think of this analogy. This small box right here is a small human, all the short people out there. And this box right here is us tall humans. And this 100 milliliters of rice represents muscle. If we pour this rice into the smaller box, it almost overflows. However, when we pour the same amount into the bigger box, it's almost as if there is nothing there. And so 10 pounds of muscle on a shorter guy will not look the same as 10 pounds of muscle on us taller guys. Look at this shorter guy and look at me. For some reason, he looks like he's double my size. He looks much more muscular. Isn't that crazy? And so what this made me realize is that in the short term, sure, the shorter guy might look a bit more jacked, but in the long term, just imagine if we fill out our frame as taller guys. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine this with me. In a year from now, if you dedicate yourself and you consistently keep lifting, you keep eating clean, you keep doing the good habits, you'll be double the size, which means you'll have double the confidence, which means you'll attract double the girls. You can open your eyes now. It's only these weak and fluffy men and these feminists who are going to hate us and call us weird for wanting to build a jacked physique to attract more girls. They're going to use some justification like, modern men don't need to be strong and sexy. If you're yourself, that's enough. Yeah, look at how that's been working out for them. They've got a shit physique, low energy, 24/7 with a 4 out of 10 girl they don't even feel attracted to. We don't want to live like that. And so we're going to build a physique that is jacked. So forget about the fact that it's harder for taller guys to build muscle. Myth number 2, all exercises are created equal. While you can do the same exercises as shorter guys, the results won't be the same on your body. Us taller guys, we have something called leverage disadvantages. Leverage disadvantages are simply just how our longer limbs make it more difficult for us to generate force effectively on certain movements. Like bro, I'm fucking long in more ways than one. But I've got a fucking huge wingspan bro, long torso, very long legs. And so I need to train in a way that complements these features. Like imagine this. Imagine a doctor that prescribes the same treatment for every single one of his patients. How stupid would that be? Imagine this. Imagine you walk into the hospital. You sprained your ankle. So you're not really walking, you're crawling or whatever. And the fucking doctor's performing heart surgery on you. Like it's not even in the same fucking place. It's not connected. You can't prescribe the same treatment or the same plan for every single person. And so it works the exact same way with us taller guys. We can't do the exact same exercises that shorter guys do. We need a specific plan, a specific routine that allows us to train our bodies effectively without putting our joints and our leverages, right, under stress. Let me give you a couple of examples. On bench press, the range of motion for us taller guys is 2 times longer than that of a shorter guys, which means there's more joint stress, we move less weight, and there's a higher risk for injury. Another example, on squats, our femur bone is longer, which means we compensate for that by leaning forward with the barbell on our back, right? And what that does is it creates unnecessary tension on the lumbar spine, the lower back. Once again, risking more injury. I would spam bench press, squats, deadlifts, all of these compound exercises that everybody recommended. And one, it was the exact opposite of what actually helped me build a jacked physique. And two, it just made me feel in pain every time I did them. Whenever I did the bench press, I had unnecessary fucking shoulder pain, which always fucking hurt. Always took me even longer to recover, so I was out of the gym for a longer period of time. When I did squats, even with the belt, which fucking helped 10 times as much, but the moment I would take it off, or the moment I'd finish the squat, it would just be like my core's fucked. Like I could barely move. I just had to sit down for a couple of minutes. I'd be out. If you continue doing these exercises, you're going to fuck your back up and your body up long term. Okay, so what do? What exercises can I do which aren't going to risk me getting injured? These are what I found to be really helpful for me and completely relieve me of any pain. The first is the isolated dumbbell press, specifically on incline. This completely relieved all my shoulder pain and all my elbow pain. I would be bench pressing for months with elbow pain. The moment, almost instantly, the moment I switched to my dumbbell press, I could barely feel the pain anymore. And after a couple of weeks, it completely went away. I recommend incline press to really start targeting the upper part of your chest. I used to do like flat bench press, flat dumbbell press, and push-ups, like flat push-ups. And what that left me with is this sort of like teardrop, like this man boob looking like chest. It looked really unaesthetic. And so what you want to do is you want to target the upper part of your chest to really build that fullness out. And for legs, instead of squats, try something like leg press to completely take the strain off of your lower back. When I do leg press now, dude, I can lift 200 plus kilos on leg press. Do you want to not be able to pick up your kids when you're older? You can't even play with them. You can't do your sports anymore. No, you don't. That's a miserable fucking life. One of the most important things I've learned on this journey is how important your health is. Being injured is the worst. You're out of training for so long. You miss out on so much progress you could have made. And you leave so many gains on the table. I just recently got really injured during kickboxing training. I pulled my back, which led to me missing my fight. And now I've been basically sitting at home, doing jack shit for the past 4 weeks, just focusing on my recovery. Because I can't go back to kickboxing because the movement hurts, like twisting my torso hurts. I can't go to the gym because lifting the weights hurt. I've had like 2 gym sessions properly. And so now all I can do is just focus on my recovery. This has been the most frustrating period over the entire year. And so I want you to avoid that, which is why inside of Tall Guy Aesthetics, I've built full routines, complete workouts, and programs, all centered around the proper style of training for taller guys. These will help you actually get jacked and see the ultimate version of yourself within 12 months. I use the same exercises which have helped me go from lanky to jacked at 6'5" and see my physique grow and progress. If you want the same, first link in the description. I'll see you inside. Myth number 3. Tall guys are naturally more aesthetic. This myth isn't completely false, but it's only a half-truth. You ever get these videos like pop up for you of these guys interviewing girls on the streets?
What's your guys' ideal height in a man?
6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, like 6'5".
It's gotta be 6 foot.
6 foot. At least 6 foot. 6 feet for sure.
And they're like, does height matter? Right? Or how tall should a guy be? And they're like 6 foot, 6'1", 6'5", or whatever, 9 feet tall, whatever they say. The thing is, these girls, when they say 6 foot plus, they aren't talking about the lanky guy who's 6 foot plus. They're talking about the jacked guy who's 6 foot plus. I want you to think of it like this. If you, the taller guy right here, goes up against a shorter guy, and both of you guys are untrained, fair enough, naturally, because none of you guys are jacked, the taller guy will seem a bit more aesthetic compared to the shorter guy who's also untrained. But the thing is, the moment this shorter guy starts training, and he starts putting on muscle, he starts building a jacked physique, guess what? You no longer outclass him. He will look more jagged than you. He will look more aesthetic and he will get that attention that you're looking for. It's just a fact. None of these girls are gonna admit that to you, but it's just a fucking fact. Girls don't know what they want to begin with. But the thing is, the moment you start getting jacked as well, the moment you start building muscle, you will take advantage of your tall aesthetics and you will actually trump above the shorter guy. You will actually use this myth for your advantage. You will naturally be more aesthetic, but that's only after you put in the work and build a jacked physique. That is when you fucking make that huge difference. The girls, they don't fucking pleasure themselves with a fucking skinny tall guy, bro. They don't think, no, it's impossible, bro. That's not how it works. I'm telling you right now. Hundreds of girls tell me the exact same thing, bro. The only reason that I am aesthetic is because I look the part. I've completely like disassociated myself from like 99% of all other taller guys, bro. Most tall guys are fucking like out of shape. They're skinny. They're either super fat they don't look good. So if you want to turn this myth in your favor, you need to build that jacked physique as a taller guy. The only caveat here is that it will take longer than it will for shorter guys. But the moment you do this, you will look better. It's just a fact. When you fill out your frame, you will look better. And I'm going to explain exactly how you do this later in this video. Myth number 4. My metabolism is too fast. Let me tell you a story. I remember this moment a couple of years ago when I was about to leave to school, and my mom stops me at the door. She looks me up and down and says, Adam, you look really skinny. She dishes out these comments regularly, so I didn't think much of it. I'm like, yeah, it's my metabolism. There's not much I can do about it, you know? I head to school, not thinking much of it. And this is what really pushed me over the edge. When I get to school and I take my coat off, my teacher pulls me aside and says, Adam, have you been eating enough? You look malnourished. Malnourished? I've been training for like 6 months consistently at that point. I was pissed. I was like, there's no fucking way you just said that. And so that was my turning point. I was like, fuck this. There's no way my metabolism is going to hold me back from getting jacked. There's no way that this is going to keep me getting these fucking comments. And I started eating more. So much more actually that I was getting close to around 4,000 calories. I went up from like 2,800 to around 4,300 calories. When I made this bump up, the number of the scale started going up. I started gaining lean muscle mass and I started looking fucking phenomenal. You always hear everyone telling you to just eat more and that's enough. But you don't understand just how much more you need to eat as a taller guy. I had to double my caloric intake. Although there is a caveat to this. You don't want to overdo it and eat too much because your body can only extract a certain amount of nutrients from the foods you eat. Everything else will just be junk volume. It will be stored as fat. And so the guys inside the tall guys aesthetics will know that this is done through what's called primal eating. You could say that our ancestors were extremely healthy. Forget about like the diseases they had at the time. They were lacking in like medicinal knowledge. But anyone who fucking tells you, yeah, but our ancestors were, they had the fucking bubonic plague. They died from the Spanish plague. Shut the fuck up. If they ever say that, if you ever hear anyone say that, look at them. They're probably fat and ugly. Don't fucking take advice from them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, okay? Our ancestors were extremely fucking healthy. The average testosterone of our ancestor, bro, of an elderly man back then was higher than the average testosterone of a 20-year-old prime male today. And we can say that the food they ate highly contributed to that. What do you think they ate? Do you think they ate Snicker bars, crisps, McDonald's, processed junk? Probably not. They probably ate something like red meat, fruits, raw dairy, right? And so if you want to overcome the metabolism hurdle that is in your way, eating in a primal way is what's going to help you do that. And there are certain foods you must avoid, and there are certain foods you must eat. And so the way you go about primal eating is extremely straightforward, which is why I like it so much, because the way you do this is by literally eating one ingredient foods. You avoid all the ultra processed bullshit with like 60 fucking ingredients that you can't even pronounce. You eat one ingredient food. Think of like an egg. There's no food label on a fucking egg, it's just an egg. And so when you eat this way, when you go back to the source, the foods that you're going to be ingesting are going to keep you fuller for longer, give you more energy, and have less calories, which are basically in line with every single one of your fitness goals, bro. So the moment you switch to primal eating, you basically never touch these fucking ultra processed snacks again. You barely even have the fucking desire to do so because of the effect and how good you feel when you don't touch them. It actually feels like poison, bro. Not long ago, I fucking opened the Nutella jar, bro. I used to fucking like eat that shit with a spoon. I just opened it and I sniffed it, bro. And I was like, it was like potent, bro. I was like, what the fuck? It was disgusting. It did not smell right, bro. Like my brain has been cleared up from all the fucking shit I've been eating back in the day. But I can sort of like, I've got like a sixth sense now, bro. When I eat these shitty foods, it feels like I'm poisoning myself. And this goes against what every single fitness influencer will tell you. Oh, but it's okay in moderation. Yeah, fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. For me and you, moderation never works for us, bro. If you're anything like me, I live my life in a very extreme way. That's just my personality. I'm on the like fucking far edge of the spectrum, always. When I was playing video games, when I was doing the bad habits, like video games, for example, I could play games for hours on end. I was just fucking locked in, invested in that. There was a time I played for 48 hours, and the only time I would leave my room was to use the bathroom and eat. And sometimes I would even fucking skip eating. On the other hand, I got so into this primal lifestyle and leveling up my physique and my health as a taller guy that I literally touched like sweets and like junk food like twice over the last 6 months. And those were on like very fucking special occasions, which I think is fine because that's the whole point of delayed gratification. For you to be able to enjoy it in a social setting, guilt-free. But that doesn't mean you fucking have it in moderation every once in a while. Fuck that, bro. No. And the best thing is that sometimes you don't even want this. You've been delaying the gratification for so long that you don't even want to touch the junk food. That's the fucking best part about it, bro. When you go out and you don't feel like eating the junk, you can just say, nah, I'm alright, thank you. You enjoy. It's not for me. Point is, this moderation bullshit is not for us. All these guys that preach all this, like, but it's okay in moderation, probably still fucking watch porn. Oh, but it reduces your prostate cancer. Fuck those guys, bro. We don't fall for this moderation bullshit. We know better. And here are the most common things I hear from tall guys when they tell me that they just can't eat around 4,000 calories a day. They can't eat more. You know what I tell them? I tell them, good. You don't deserve to eat that much yet. You don't deserve to bulk up. You don't deserve to get bigger. If you're not training your ass off, you don't deserve to eat that much. If I don't train hard enough, my body doesn't feel hungry. It doesn't feel like it needs to eat more food. And of course, that's going to make it much harder for me to force eat and get closer to 4,000 calories. And it's the same thing with my sleep. It is extremely difficult for me to fall asleep unless I train like a fucking beast. And it's because I haven't earned it. But Adam, this didn't really work for me because when I tried to train harder, my appetite didn't really grow and I couldn't really eat as much. Let me ask you this, bro. If somebody wanted to be a professional basketball player, but they've never touched a basketball in their fucking life before, and they go to the basketball court, they try to shoot a couple times, and they miss, and they fucking say, oh, I'll just quit, I'll give up now. What would you tell them? You'd probably tell them to keep going and get better over time, right? And it's the same thing here. It's going to take time. Just keep showing up. Myth number 5, you will always have a lanky frame. This one is fucking brutal, and when I heard it, it probably stung the most because it came from my mom. And it's not like she was trying to insult me, but she would say something like, you know, your frame is genetic and there's nothing you can do about it. And that was always pissed me off. Like, I know if she wasn't trying to insult me, but like when she would compare me to my family members who were wider than me, like genetically, and you know, other jacked dudes, she'd be like, you're not as jacked as them, there's nothing you can do about it. That's just your frame, you know, you're handsome or whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, thank you, but fuck off, like it's annoying. I know she didn't try to insult me, but it would always just piss me off because of how helpless I felt. I was like, there's nothing I can do. But I just stuck with it. I ignored what she said. And I remember this one time, specifically, when I was walking around the house shirtless. And she looked at me and she's like, oh my God, Adam, you're built like a V. I fucking cracked up. I was like, finally, yes. I was finally able to widen my frame. But not in the way you think. The brutal truth is that your skeletal structure is pretty much set in stone. It is very difficult, almost impossible to change your skeletal structure. But that doesn't mean that you can't become wider. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, and the guys inside of Tall Guy Aesthetics will know that it all comes down to these 2 steps. The first is your posture. Dude, I guarantee right now you're fucking sat there like melted ice cream, bro, like fucking, like a little bitch. Sit up straight, bro, properly. You don't understand just how much your posture affects how aesthetic you look. Now, this doesn't mean you have to fucking puff your chest, spread your arms, and walk, or you gotta fucking stick up your ass, right? All this means is that you have to fucking, like, just keep your fucking head up, walk with a bit more confidence, straight back, shoulders back. That's all this means. Just focus on your posture more, because I guarantee, as generic as this might sound, I guarantee you're not focused on this enough. Just take a look at how much of a big difference straightening up and fixing your posture makes on your physique. Now, the second thing you can do to widen your frame is through targeting specific muscles that I like to call the aesthetic multiplier muscles that build up the V taper. That's what gives you that V look. And these muscles are your neck, your upper traps, your upper chest, your lateral delts, your biceps, your back, and your abs. Training these muscles is what's going to help you build up that wider frame where your shoulders are 1.6 times the width of your waist, giving you that V look. And I break down exactly how to train these the correct way for taller guys to actually see progress and get jacked inside of Tall Guy Aesthetics. Go over there right now and I'll see you inside. Click and watch this to learn more. Goodbye.